especially international students, only being able to work X amount of hours, 24 hours a week, you can't survive on that amount, with minimum wage. All students going to the food bank. I don't have a criminal record. I'm not someone you would normally, I'm not on your radar.
And then I come up with this podcast idea because of this network I have, so I can bring a lot of people.
So we decided to, pitch a tent and sleep down. You're still doing it. You're still doing it. You're still networking. You're still making friends all over. You pull up in a limousine wearing a 3-piece suit. You roll the window down. You and ask, hey, can I have a bowl of soup? You're getting a bowl of soup. No judgment. That's how you grow.
And so this one is our third episode, and you are our third guest. We had Sophia at the beginning, and we had Sean McCarthy last time, and this time we have you, Crystal.
And I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I really
Thanks for having me.
Of course, thank you. Yeah. Thank you for coming. It's just always at the beginning of this podcast, I was always worried who's gonna come. Nobody probably is gonna come to the podcast. I don't know. I don't want to make people.
You build it, and they'll come. They'll come.
Hopefully, yeah. I hope so, because I want to make it like a safe environment for talking and having a chat. Because so many people, I realized on the social media, for example, they don't want to share what their thought is, what they think is true.
They're afraid of ridicule. People are afraid of ridicule, and people can be mean online when they're behind that keyboard. Yeah,
but they can't do the same thing face to face, right?
Some can, but most of them can't. No,
most of them can't. You're right. But that's why I'm starting this podcast, not only to promote the Miramichi culture, history. I want to expand it more to New Brunswick, and then more to Canada, and then we can have. Remember where we are living at here in the country. We have a free speech, and we have to use it. Don't let the media get over us and not let us share what we believe. After a while, if we don't share, we are gonna be. Or thought or belief is going to be done after a while. Yeah. So we have 2 sponsors for this first season. The first season is going to be about promoting the history, culture, and stories in Miramichi area, and it can be a great help, and we can entertain people at the beginning. At the same time, most of the newcomers who are coming to the city, they can get to know here what's happening here, what's the story behind it. And so we have this Miramichi City for our first sponsor, and to sponsor this podcast that we can keep going, keep growing, and keep promoting it. And the second one is the Rot Hotel. So I said I didn't have a great studio to record anywhere, so I came talk to the manager and I talk about this. I said I would love to support your business. Would you be willing to support my business, like this podcast? He said, yeah, let me see what I can do. And she gave us this conference room here, and we are so happy. Wow. It's very nice. It's very
It is. Yep. No, it's great.
Okay, yeah. The last episode, I catch a cold, and I told myself I need to now take care of myself more, of my voice and my appearance, everything, because now I'm becoming a podcast. So I need to provide good content for my audience who are watching or listening. So.
It's okay to keep it real. Yeah. It's okay to keep it real. Yeah, everybody gets cold. I got a cold. I'm sick too. So
yeah, I'm a human. I can't catch a cold. But,
yep.
Yeah, but I really care to provide good content. And so, as I said, it is our third episode, and I'm really glad you're coming. I would love to. We always had a chat together while I was back at school. During my break time, one time, for 30 minutes. And
how many classes did you miss from being in my office?
After lunch, I didn't go because I was starting having to chat with you. And our chat got long. Well, we prefer to have a chat with you instead of going back to the
class. Yeah. No class after this. We're good.
Yes, it was a really good time. I had a really good time. It was a big challenge at the beginning for me. So let me just you introduce yourself first. What do you do at MBC, and then we can go through our story.
So I'm Crystal Reynolds. I'm from Miramichi, born and raised. I'm the MBCC student life officer, and we help with organizing and advising student union, and which is how I met Shayan. So yeah,
That's cool.
you were my VP of events
VP
that
of
the first year. Yeah,
That has a great story because
Yeah.
Sophia she was running for the president of
Yep.
the MBCC student
Yeah.
union, and then I saw her. I said, "Oh, I like this girl. I'm gonna run for something else."
There's a method to your madness, right? There's always a story behind it.
Yeah, I said, "Okay, I ran for it." It was a really, really good experience, honestly. We had the chance to go see other campuses, Fredericton, Moncton. At the same time, I was sad because I was seeing how Moncton campus have really good stuff, like a billiard table, ping pong table, and I was keep saying we need to have this in Miramichi. We need to have this. So before I ended up that duration I was in Miramichi, we finally bought that like a ping pong table. As we said, before I go, I need to buy something for you. So we got that. That was a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very nice.
The current executive got to go to Moncton last night to play basketball.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
He was saying, Afolabi was saying.
Yeah, Moncton won, but you know, you can't win them all.
The next
time, yeah, when they come here, it was home court advantage.
Yeah. So tell me about how many teams do you have already at the executive team at the student union?
Well, with the outgoing, we have president, secretary, treasurer, and then the vice presidents.
Okay.
Not a vice president position anymore, because it was kind of a filler one. So, but we do have the VP of athletics, events, communication, and advocacy. So they're currently full. They're contracted until October. But the new elections that we just had them last week, and we have a new president incoming. My sad story about this is that every member but one, who is she was our VP of communications. She is now incoming to our new president.
Okay.
Everyone else is graduating.
Oh.
They're all leaving me.
That's how.
And I rub it in every chance I get.
That's the bad thing about your job. You are always each year.
I get attached to the folks that I work with, and
you're leaving.
Yeah, some are only there for. Yeah, you left. I only came in halfway through the year. Like I only came in January after the Christmas break, and you guys all graduated in June. So
that's the hard.
I'm glad you stuck around though.
Yeah, I still stuck around. Like after. So we are gonna go towards that. What you all are doing beyond the MBCC and what I am also doing after I graduated and beyond my personal work.
Yeah.
So how many of these executive teams are international students, or how many of domestics?
There's one domestic, and she's our incoming president.
Oh, nice.
Everyone else is an international student.
That's amazing.
That's kind of the trend right now. Like since I've come on as student life officer, that the international students, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's a way for them, by joining student union, it's a way to get to know people. Networking is so big for everyone, right? Domestic too. Yeah.
Most of the time. I was always thinking, what is the reason why, like, for example, domestic students contribute less on the student union, and the reason is because they have their own friends. So after my class, they were friends. They were going hang out together outside. Yeah. We are new to the country, and we are trying to make new friends. So I was coming to your office. Some other student come trying to join any teams existed. It's a sport team, or it's a executive at the MBCC student union or anything else. So they want to make network, as you said, and make friends.
Oh, I think you did a pretty damn good job.
Yeah, I did.
You're still doing it. You're still networking. You're still making friends all over. And yeah.
I was always thinking, after I made a lot of friends and a lot of network, I was thinking I should do something with this network I have. I don't know what should I do. How can I kind of help? What could be can give me the leverage? I can help more people and provide more service, help my community more. And then I come up with this podcast idea because of this network I have. So I can bring a lot of people. I can't see anybody. For the first podcast, Sophia said, who would be the max person that you think you really love to see it and it's impossible to have it? I said King Charles III. I was like, that's a big he's not gonna come. But but I said, I can't see it.
Dream big though, right? Like there's no harm in wanting them to be here.
Yeah, exactly. But that's a good point we talk about it, because when I go to the meeting with the Chamber of Commerce, we are worried about this kind of situation which is happening for the international student, and we are thinking and they always saying really good words about international students. They're saying they're hard worker, they are contribute a lot to the what's the name, contribute a lot to the community and the events. And at the same time, I saw a lot of like a Canadian and the domestic students also doing the same thing. They are having like volunteering jobs and everything. And it's very nice that people here looking at the international student or newcomers like that. They are not looking in a hateful way. They are looking in a friendly way, and they love them. They want to have more even.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So at the before we move on the others, I have like the titles. I'm like checking in, not to miss anything. But before we move on to the next one, I know like at the NBCC Student Union, when I was there, many students were having the challenges of having food on their table because they are new, sometimes not finding a job, not finding the house. And you manage it really well to do lots of fundraising. And since last year I was there, and not that's 2 years ago, and even now that you kind of managed to have like free food for NBCC students. How would you do that? Like, how did you manage that?
And it wasn't, it came to me. I didn't even have to do anything. So it was the community had seen it. There was members of the community seeing the influx of all students going to the food banks and, you know, struggling to pay their tuition, pay their rent, pay hydro. You know, especially international students only being able to work X amount of hours, 24 hours a week. You can't survive on that amount, you know, with minimum wage, and then plus, you know, pay your own tuition. And because I don't think a lot of people realize that international students don't qualify for student loans, and they don't qualify for the pricing and subsidies that domestic students get. So you're paying 3 times as much for tuition on top of the extravagant rent prices for closets that you're renting. But so food is usually, by the time you're done paying your, you know, living expenses and tuition to come to school, food is last on the list. So with everyone flooding the food banks, there's a wonderful woman, Pastor Albertine LeBlanc, and she's based out of Blackville, the resource center up there. And they have a program where they have volunteers and they go around and to all the grocery stores in town. And outside of town, and they pick up the stale breads, like the stuff that will expire the next day, the 50% off stuff. And then they pick it up, they take it up to their freezer or deliver it directly to where it's needed. The food bank, like the Newcastle Food Bank, some of the local churches that help do lunches and stuff. There's a couple of ladies over at the Knights of Columbus Hall in Chatham. All kinds of things going on around the city. So they deliver that. So they come in and met with me, and Lisa Harris was in that meeting. And we come up with a strategy on how to be able to bring, you know, more food to the students. So that gave birth to the bread and pastry shelf. So it's 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
That's amazing.
It is. It's great because there's everything from frozen milk that comes in to bread, of course, pastries, croissants, and then dry goods as well. For a little while there, we were getting you know, hand sanitizers, and especially during cold and flu season, and masks. And when the COVID tests were going around, we were getting those as well for folks. Like it was, it's great.
It's actually good because even though I during that time I was lucky because they changed the rule from be able to work 20 hours, so I could have worked kind of longer. So I was lucky. But even for me, I was staying there until MBCC closed. I was studying until like 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
And I was getting hungry. I didn't know. I didn't want to go. I didn't have the car to go to store, do shopping, and then come back and start studying. I didn't have time. So that also helped me that I could afford go also like buy food. But I was always going to that student union and had food and then go back and study again. So saved me a lot of time too.
Yep.
So it was amazing.
Yeah.
Anything. That's a great movement, and that's a big stuff for like
so it's been a little over a year and a half, almost 2 years now that we've been doing it, and it's
I was there.
And we're able to do it over the summer because what a lot of people, of course, we have the student union has the emergency food cupboard that full-time students or all students can apply for, but then we also have we've got other programs. We've got part-time programs and stuff that are on campus. They are able to come in and use the extra stuff. So anything outside my office, in that little room outside my office,
it's totally free for people to pick it up.
Yep.
That's nice.
And we joke sometimes. We'll have like little things, and a couple of the guys, staff members will come in and they'll hear students say, "Oh, well, I want a thing of donuts. I want a donut, but I don't want. I just want one. I don't want the whole pack." And I torment them. If you take it, you have to take the whole pack. You can't just open it, right? Germs. So the guys will come and say, "Hey, you take one, I'll take one. Fair is fair." And it's actually good because it shows the students there's no judgment, there's no nothing. You don't have to be embarrassed to come get it, because some people are insecure about in food security. But when they see other staff and getting involved as well, it makes it easier for them.
Right.
Yeah.
I know. But this is really nice because what you are also doing a lot and supporting this food and other helping the newcomers beside your jobs, like out of the MBCC, you do a lot of like fundraising, you do a lot of like helping to the community, volunteering, and it is very nice. Like personally, after I graduate, so I had, for example, you and the Brenda at the Indigenous office and many others. I was having a chat, learning, talking.
Yeah.
But after I graduated, I was only working. And I got like tired of working. I was super depressed. I emailed to Mary Butler and I said, I want to still get involved. What can I do? There was at the same time, there was a opportunity open for being a board of governor at the NDCC.
Yep.
Right away, I applied for that. I said, I'm coming back there. This is more involved than before. And it was great. So at the same time, so I'm saying like now, beside my work, I'm a apprentice electrician. I'm doing this podcast now. I'm on 4 or 5 other boards beside that MBCC, I think. I made myself
busy. You're as busy as I am.
I love to do something beyond the work and do something meaningful that makes me feel good.
Yeah.
Like I have something, I'm making something. And it's amazing. I was just telling the guys yesterday, Alex, Jonathan, Afolabi, Javad is my friend in Iran. They're all helping to make this grow. It's like I'm not alone doing it. It's the team. I love teamwork, and that's why I love it. So, but you also do a lot of stuff. I love to talk about that video that you made for the coldest night of the year.
Yes, my daughter and I co-found Dining with Dignity, where it started out helping the homeless, because there was a couple of years ago it was starting to get. We were noticing it more. It's always been here. It just wasn't called homeless. It was you were a couch server, you were staying with a friend or whatever. But now it's right out in everyone's face, and they deserve just as much as to get what we get. So we started
camping, right? That
night, yeah. So the coldest night of the year. Wellness check, right? So the coldest night of the year used to be where you would stay out, you would make shift, usually out of cardboard boxes or tarps. Everyone would go to Ritchie Wharf and you would make your own little shelter. It was earlier in the year. It wasn't in February, so it wasn't as cold. But the coldest night of the year is typically in February, and it's usually like the mid-February. So, but now it's evolved. that it's a walk.
It's a walk.
It's not, you don't stay out all night to raise funds. You don't have, have pledges or whatever. You raise money, but you do your 2.5 or 5K walk. And I said, well, you don't get the whole point of it is to get that experience of what our homeless and our vulnerable community goes through. So we decided to, pitch a tent and sleep down. And we went through everything we see our friends and our vulnerable community going through when we're down there with Dining with Dignity and we're serving up meals and we're giving supplies. We only used what we would be able to offer them to survive at the night. So we did cheat a little bit because we had to eat safety first, right? We can't help someone else unless we keep ourselves safe, right? Yeah. But we bundled up. We took our sleeping bags and we had our,
I know I would join you.
It was cold. It was cold. So there was times, we had to. Chandra was constantly changing out toe warmers and hand warmers, in her boots because her feet were really cold, and we walked a lot that night just to keep warm. Yeah, and when we finally did decide, okay, we're going to try and get a couple hours sleep. We're going to settle down into the tent. Then there was lights shining in, and it was the police and they wanted to know. So we explained. We opened, we explained what we were doing. Yeah. One of the officers asked me my name, and when I told him my name, and he was just kind of like, I don't recognize that name. And I'm thinking, well, because I don't have a criminal record, I'm not someone you would normally. I'm not on your radar.
Yeah, exactly.
I keep to myself, and so.
I'm not the minister.
Yeah, right. So when I told, explain what we were doing, they're like, yeah, well, you're just setting a bad example because they thought that us being there. And I mean, they did have a good point. I can't disagree with them.
Yeah.
They thought us being there would encourage some of our vulnerable community to start pitching tents there because at one time there was, a member of our community who was living there because he had nowhere else to go. Yeah. There is no shelter in the summertime. So they were fine. They left. And about half hour later, we get up to go get a walk because our toes were getting cold. Yeah. And I had said something about being no wonder they walk, the homeless walk so much to keep warm so they don't freeze. I said, with out of the cold shelter now, the new building being so far from the downtown, they'd be warm by the time they got there. And she said, that's a great idea. So we packed up everything like we were asked to. And we took off and we walked up to the shelter and we called ahead of time, made sure that there was no bed. We would never take a bed away from someone. Okay. So when we got there, they opened the doors and greeted us with open arms and we went through the whole intake process. And
let me tell you something. While you are talking, it's great. I can see that you're talking about like a safety. You talk about like we never take off any like a beds from anyone. It's show me that sometimes our community, unfortunately, some not all of them, some small part of it, instead of paying attention to the reason behind doing something, what you exactly do, what it's good that they really put you on a microscope and watch your movement, exactly what you're doing.
And that's exactly what happens too, Shayan. Like we do it for a reason. We do it because we enjoy it. We enjoy it, not just that, okay, what, this makes me feel good, but we do it to bring that point across, right? To try to explain, make it more understandable to those who don't understand. Because, you're right. Some don't. For every 10 people that that understand and that want to do good things and they're, excited about helping others, there's always one that is like,
I'm going to say even half.
it's like, why would you want to do, they can't understand.
Well, with those, they don't have a good day. That's why I'm saying half.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Well, we'll take that into consideration, but, but the majority of the people, and one thing that I learned about this, because when we started out, it wasn't all bubblegum and rainbows. There was people who were opposed to what we were doing. Like they couldn't understand, why would you do that? They're there for a reason. Oh, that person, he's homeless for a reason, or she's,
Yeah.
she's there
wants to
because
know
she wants
why.
to be there. Nobody wants to be out there. Nobody wants to become in active addictions. Nobody wants to be, and that's the thing too. Everyone thinks that if you're homeless, you're an addict. Well, no, you're not. We've got, and the folks that we don't deal with just the homeless, or or someone who doesn't have shelter. We deal with seniors who are incapable of using their kitchens and preparing themselves meals, but yet still have their own home, but have to buy medication and can't afford food. Absolutely. On our Facebook page, Dining with Dignity, about a month ago, there was someone had commented and asked if they had to be homeless to get a meal, and I said, absolutely not. If you are hungry, you are welcome.
Yep.
And the way we have it set up.
Income bracket that if you making up to, I don't remember the number. For example, if you are making up to 20,000 per year, you're eligible. More than that, you are not eligible. Something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
so can afford.
But you pull up in a limousine wearing a 3-piece suit. You roll the window down. And ask, "Hey, can I have a bowl of soup?" You're getting a bowl of soup. No judgment. I don't care how you get to us. We're going to feed you when you get here.
That's that's really good to know, and that was a great, lots of good information you shared with us and with the people who prefer. I really encourage everybody go watch that video, that they see what are their challenges and what that night goes. You, what was it? Your daughter with you, right?
Yeah, my daughter.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So that was great story. I wish, since it is kind of our beginning of our podcast, we try to have more audience first. In the future, I would love to have this podcast longer, for 1 hour or even longer. But for now, we keep it between 20 to 30 minutes. Yeah. But we still have time. I want to go to our second title.
I'm sure you have a wonderful editor.
What you said, no. But he's honestly a good editor. But he's not gonna cut us off. So every week I decided, when I'm running this podcast, I believe in, today I just saw a post on Instagram saying that, and this is also my belief, that if you want to go into any industry, for example, now I'm coming into the industry of podcasts, I'm not competing and I'm not going to fight with other podcasters, other people who are in the radio or anything else. I'm trying to help them at the same time. So that's what one of the reasons I invited Sean McCarthy for my first podcast to introduce his business. Beside the Character Matters Miramichi, he and Thomas running a new podcast called Tell Me a Story. I don't know if you know about it or not.
No, I haven't.
We share the link on their YouTube with you. You can watch it. It's amazing. They are both having a 30-minute storytelling in front of the camera, and it's quite interesting. So I invited them. I said, I will support your business. You are a valuable guest. All of my guests are valuable. The value of this podcast is to the guests and the audiences. It's not me that people are coming watching me. They are coming to see what's the experience my guest has, and they can take out from that. So for this week, what business I want to support is the Fun Factory. And today I just realized, because I wrote it down here, fantastic inflatable Ramichi. So I said, your sister said, yeah, but they changed it to Fun Factory. And I didn't know, I know Fun Factory. It's a great, we were there just for the laser tag. Yeah. And we had a really good time, but I didn't know that's the same thing.
Yep, that's my brother and sister.
And your brother, okay. That's a thing. Yeah, that's cool. When did they run it?
They opened up, I believe it was right after Labor Day. Yeah, when school first started last September. And they opened up the upstairs, and then they started working on the renovations downstairs for laser tag. And laser tag's grand opening was New Year's Eve.
Okay, that's cool. I had a really good time. I really encourage everybody with any age, I think, right?
I can't keep up. I can't keep. No, for laser tag, I played it once, and I can't keep up.
Hard.
I'm too old for that.
I was keep running here. I
finally found something that I can say, you know what, this is too fast for me. I got to take a step back.
So Sophia was on the red one, I was on the blue team, and I was keep shouting. I played laser tag. Where is Sophia? So we were fighting about it. It was fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
It is.
I would
Yeah.
really recommend it.
And the community needed something like that
Yeah.
here.
Right?
Right? So-
Kids, when I went there, I was like,
Yeah.
you said, in home Miramichi, during these 3 years that I'm here, I never seen this much people gather together at the same time.
Yeah.
It was like amazing.
It's nice. Yeah.
And,
So shout out to Helen Crawford and Kathleen Crawford.
Yeah. Do you want to
They're
give
the
the
ones-
address
Yeah.
to whoever want to go?
306 Water Street.
306 Water Street,
Yep.
Fun Factory. And so we are almost, this is check too. We are almost at the end of our like kind of podcast. So another tradition we have, I don't know, should I go with this one or this one? So another,
Let's do them both. You can edit.
So
Whichever one turns out better.
yeah, whatever. So another tradition we have. So there is like a Iranian podcaster. Her name is Nazanin Noor. He's always giving like a Persian phrase. So I'm gonna give you a Persian phrase, and I will give you the.
Now you
translated
put me back
version.
to school now.
No, I will give you the translated version. You are just gonna guess what's the meaning behind it.
Okay.
Okay. So the phrase is "Gol pushto ru nadare," which means the flower has no back and no face. Do you wanna try the Persian?
The flower has no back and no face.
Yeah. Do you want to try the Persian version one time? You can read it from here.
Oh Lord.
I will help you one time. Gol
Gol
pushto
postoru
nadare.
nara.
Yes, one more time.
Gol pastoru narara.
Yeah, that's perfect. So yeah, so it means like the flower has no face and no back. What does it do? You think?
Oh gosh. I don't know.
Give it a guess.
Transparent?
No. Give one more guess. I'm gonna give you the.
Oh gosh. And no back and no face.
The flower has no back and. I don't know if you guys
Okay.
have this tradition that, for example, I don't know if you are sitting in the car. If someone, for example, as a young person, sit at the front and someone is in the back, I'm gonna say sorry that my back is towards you. That have a respect. We don't usually sit. A young person don't sit towards a person who is like older.
Okay.
Yeah, so we say like, and for example, I sit in front of you and my back is towards you, and I will say, oh, I'm sorry that my back is towards
Yeah,
you, and you say
yeah.
the flower doesn't have back and face. Like,
Okay. Okay, now it makes sense. Now it makes perfect sense.
yeah, so that's how what's the meaning is. So another tradition.
I'm gonna be using that.
You can say "Gol poche."
Yeah.
Very good one. Like the flower has no back and no face. You never used something like that, right?
No, well, it's always, but it's right. Like, it's not really a tradition, but yeah, it's always, no one likes to have their back to somebody, right? You never, because you don't want to have someone turn their back to you. That's usually a negative, aspect, right? But you'd rather have them face. You can't chat like this here with, when you're turned the other way.
Right.
So yeah, no. Yeah, no one likes to have their back turned. Yeah.
So
I like
at
that.
the end of this podcast, we always doing a gift exchanging. So one of the reason is first of all, can I have the crystals gift? So all of these gifts that we are receiving from our guests going towards the very best podcast exhibition. And at the end of year or at the end of each season, we are trying to put them on auction, sell them, and help back to the community. Any charities that might need it.
I'm big on charity, right? I love that. I love that idea.
So Crystal brought us this time this bag, which is, she knows like I love Miramichi stuff, but it's not gonna be for me, unfortunately.
Well, you bid on it.
Yeah.
Bid on it. You might win the bid.
Yeah, exactly. That was thinking, oh, that's not for me. I hope someone buy more expensive.
And highlighting another local business. No, the tag all decked out.
All decked out.
Yep,
Okay.
right across the road.
Look at this.
Yeah.
I have a. Okay, can I? Oh, this is an amazing gift. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And we are always having another gift also for a memory that you can have from us, from the very best podcast. You have that as a memory. And this is also from the same store, all decked out. And so this is our logo, the very best, and your name we printed by the laser.
Oh, that is
And you can
gorgeous.
have it
Thank you so much, Shayan. Oh my goodness. Look at that.
Yeah,
I love that. Thank you so much.
yeah, I'm happy you like it too.
I bet you took that picture too, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank
I
you.
love the
Thank
bridge.
you. I know.
Many. Yeah, I didn't want to. Honestly, if not, I wanted, but some of my friends who were involved with this podcast saying, "Don't put the bridge, don't limit the."
No.
So
No. That's
yeah,
the
that's what
Centennial Bridge now is like that. It just screams Cheyenne foul now. It's-
that's a great statement. Because I know I said the reason what they were saying they don't want to limit the podcast on in Miramichi only. I said, but that's where I started. That's
yeah.
why I grew up. That's why I call
That's-
here home because I made friends. I work. I find my love.
I've said it. I mean, you can. I've said it to you hundreds of times, I'm sure, in the short time that we were at NBCC together. But if we had like 10% of our youth right now that are local to Miramichi have half the enthusiasm that you have for our community and our city, it'd be yeah, we could do great things because you are doing great things for our city.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Sorry to-
I'm glad we met. I'm
Me
really
too,
glad
me
we
too.
met.
Yeah, me too. I'm really happy with that. I think we are good. I have just one thing.
No, we are the very best.
Yeah, the very best. That's great. I forgot I should start asking this question at the beginning of my podcast. That would be great advertisement for me. I'm gonna ask you, how's she going, eh? You're gonna say the very best.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So at the end of this episode, so we are kind of out of the time, but I decided to. I don't know why. While I was working on the titles, what we are going to talk about this time,
Mm-hmm.
all the times, one of my friends who passed away 3 years ago, was keep coming to my mind, and I was checking. I have her last message on my WhatsApp, and the last message is kindly share this video, and it was her video while she was during the student graduation, my
graduation.
graduation. She was singing the "O Canada." Her name is Bemi, and she was a great friend of mine, a student at the MBCC Miramichi campus, with studying environmental. But she lost her life in an accident, and it was very sad. I didn't want to finish this podcast like with the sad story, but what I want to like let her know that that video is really meaningful to me. And anytime after that, me and Sophia, wherever we are listening, going to the hockey games, and they start singing "Oh Canada,"
We think of her.
we start crying. We can't stand any "Oh Canada" after. It's a great man, and she has a great voice.
She
She
did.
did a very
Yep.
great job. So we're gonna finish this our podcast. We're gonna give this podcast as a gift to her with her singing "Oh Canada." And yeah, that's our podcast. I didn't want to finish it very
And like, yeah, you're gonna make me cry.
but I had it like
But that happens at the drop of a dime, right? So,
I had
but
it
no,
right here. I said
yeah.
I will bring No, I said I will bring the Venice topic first because it will change the atmosphere, and then I was gonna bring that Persian word that you have some challenge. But yeah, anyway.
It happened. It happened naturally, and hey, you know what? It happened for a reason. So
Yeah. But thank you so much, Crystal.
Thank you for having me.
It was amazing. But
Get over here.
yeah, give you a great hug. But this is not gonna be your last time you're here because I think I made a couple topics which
I will come back.
10 more minutes. You're done. So, but would you come back? And what would you think?
Absolutely.
Last statement for this podcast. What would you think about this? And would you come back?
Absolutely, I would come back.
Be happy to hear that.
Yeah.
What do you think about our podcast?
I love the idea. I love the idea. I love the team. Some of them can be a little finicky, but we won't picture who, right? No, I think what you're doing is awesome. I think it's a wonderful asset to the community. Yeah. Love the name. Love the name.
Me too. We were listening to the podcast. We were on our way going to Moncton, and then I was saying, what should I name this, Sophia? I don't know. I want a really cool name for this podcast. She didn't say anything. She took off a CD from our dashboard and she put it on the player to play on the car, and he started singing the music which is saying, I don't know, have you ever heard the very best, the very best? It's
No.
something like that. I will send it to you. I will play.
Yeah,
I will
send it
tell
to-
to my editor to play that song on the top of this video too. But yeah, and then he come up with my wow, that's a great name. The very
There you go.
for this podcast.
It happened for a reason, and everything happens for a reason. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And
you.
I hope everybody enjoyed this podcast. And don't forget to share this with your friends. We want more people to hear from us. And we want you also share your comments and ideas. Let us know if you want to also be part of the supporter or sponsor of this podcast. We have many ways that you can support us, and you just need to let me know on my email or on my social media or comment it below. We will reach you out. And that's it. The very best.
The very
So much.
best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Guys. See you. This part always surprises me a little. Over half of the people who watch or listen to the very best podcast haven't hit the subscribe yet. So if you are here, if you enjoy these stories, if you believe in what we are building, I'm asking you for one small favor. Tap that subscribe button, please. It's free, it means a lot to us. And I promise you, me and my team are doing everything we can to make every episode even better for you. We will listen to your feedback, we will bring the guests you care about, and we will keep growing this together. Thank you so much for being part of this.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north, strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God, keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee.